Happy Sunday afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. It's a lovely day here in Canada. Alberta, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. South of Calgary, actually. If you didn't notice, spent the last little bit late, not too late actually. Got baby goats, showed up. They're starting to show up. I expect. Got triplets down there. They got 4 other females that are pregnant, so I could end up with 12 new baby goats in the next week or so. It's so much fun. It's awesome, actually, seeing those little buggers. So watch the feed, because there's going to be baby goats on the feed. How is everybody doing out there in the craziness of the world that we live in? Give everybody a couple minutes to chime in, or tune out, whatever you want. Oh, I got hay on the freaking. Phew. Yeah, I don't know how to ship baby goats. Where there's a will, there's a way. You're in, Lucas, you're in, I want to say Florida. That's not probably right, though. Are you in Florida? That's a long trip for a baby goat. Danny's shooting a rap video. Danny's missed his calling as a rapper. Yeah, that's awesome. Jersey. It's beautiful here. It's the middle of January. It's like plus 5 degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know what that is. That's 50, 55, somewhere in there. So big D, nature's death sentence. How is everybody out there? Sorry, I've been dark for like 2 months. It's been, you got it. Dude, I can't make that out. Wet show? Yeah, I'm trying to decide what the hell I'm going to do. There's AHR that's coming up in Georgia, and then wet shows in Indianapolis. Got so much going on. That's part of the reason that it's been, the old Barn Banter's been quiet. It's nonstop, which is a good problem to have. The boys are running. Pete's actually in school. Started school a couple weeks ago, so yeah. The amount of crap that I have to do that needs to be done is it's a bit crazy, actually. Let me fix that. There we go. So we'll see. As with everything with those sorts of trips, it's like the very last second. I'm like, yeah, I think I can make it work. The weather's going to work out for 3 or 4 days. So I saw your text, Ollie. I'll check on that part. It should be in. One of my favorite people here in Calgary, who is a fantastic chef at one of the restaurants that we look after, has been without a dishwasher for, that's probably been 2 months now, man. We've been waiting for a part from Amazon, which should have arrived this week, or across the border a week or 10 days ago. Anyway, we're gonna try and do 12 to 18 of these bad boys a month. Always got time for that. And so I've got 4 or 5 people lined up, and we're going to change the format a little bit. It's going to be more of a YouTube thing than an Instagram thing. But as you know, I'm always happy to jump on here and frickin' this is the live setup is literally the Baker gym. This is the COVID gym. This is what we did over COVID. This used to just be full of fixtures and controls and just, frankly, garbage. Of course I worked out this morning. Got in here. I was a bit late, to be perfectly blunt. I got in here about 6:30, wrapped up about 8. The beauty of the weekend workouts is you can frickin' just... The sticker wall is right there. Should I turn it? Hang on, let me see if I can. Shoop. It's over there. And the hat wall's behind me. I don't know if you can see it. There's the hat wall. And of course there's... There we go. Get to the gym. Get it in! It was squat day today. Freaking hate squats. They're freaking bad. See you, big man. Chat soon. If I'm heading to Indianapolis, I'll let you know. We'll go for pancakes after you blow all your money at the strippers, which I'm not going to, as you know. Oh, so yeah, I'm always up for a frickin' rant. It was an interesting week, as everybody may or may not know. The internet world has not gotten any better. There's so many haters out there that anytime I post something, and I post a lot, but there's always some quip in there or some direct message of saying you're doing this wrong, or what do you Canadians do up there? Do you even know how to plumb? And if you respond to it, you immediately get, you suck at plumbing. Okay. You even know what I'm doing? We were in that, it's one of the oldest buildings in Calgary. It was built in 1894, I want to say. 1893. Cleaning some, steaming some sewer lines. And some guy was like, dude, that's not an old building. I'm like, 1894 is not an old building. It's 120 years old, man. Oh, that's nothing compared to where I live. I'm like, all right, well, where do you live? No response. Won't tell me anything. Oh, hang on. The messages are coming in, man. Lucas is out here. Is it T-tape and dope? Oh, man. Or dope and... Listen. If there's any controversy about dope and tape or tape and dope, it's all my fault. I have done it that way. In fact, it got heated there a couple years back. It's died down, which it ought to, because it's stupid. But that I literally dope those threads and then tape it. Why? Because that's how I was taught to do it. And that's the way I've done it for 35 years. And I've never had a problem with it leaking. And so you get the odd chachi that's like, it's going to leak, or it's not, My analogy is this is a peanut butter sandwich. What side of the bread do you put the peanut butter on? The left side or the right side? It doesn't matter. You smash it together and then you eat it, and it's all just a big garbled goop in your gut. And that's exactly what happens when you thread something. It doesn't matter where the tape is or where the dope is. It all spins in and does whatever the hell it does. Seals it. So that was a fun... it was a fun... in fact, that's how I really got to know Eric Ani, and George the Plumber and a bunch of other of those guys, because they were all in on that debate. Coco, Drains, were all in on that stuff. So we had a great time. And that's the thing, is you can have differences of opinion, and if you're level-headed and not a moron about it, you can actually get to know some really cool people on here. But if you come into this stuff all hostile and crazy, nobody wants anything to do with you. Like nothing. So if you're just looking to make trouble on these things, which is easy enough to do, then I appreciate it. I don't think you can see the things. I'm one of his favorite plumbers to follow. Makes me feel nice. Tape and dope. You're right. Gas piping. No, gas. We got into that debate too. Like there's the regular white tape. There's pink tape. There's orange tape. There's gray tape for stainless steel. And at the end of the day, like the chemical composition of all that stuff is so different. Mostly it's just thickness of the tape itself um, that makes the difference. It doesn't matter what you use. It truly doesn't. I've used pink, yellow, gray on everything because when it's in your truck and you're 30 miles out from in the middle of the bush, it doesn't matter what you use. You just want to make sure it doesn't freaking leak. It's all that matters, right? Monster is a big. I see that everywhere. We don't. It's not much up here. We don't see much of Monster. Oatley's, Odie, sorry, is everywhere. Silicone, buddy. Silicone all the way. Come on, man. Don't ask crazy questions. Who I don't know who uses putty anymore, and that again is another. It doesn't really matter, but I don't even see like our wholesalers don't sell it anymore. I used to be able to buy the big, like gallon tub of it. When I was apprenticing, I had a gallon or whatever, not a gallon, a liter tub of that stuff, and did it on your kitchen sinks. You used it on toilets. You use it. It's Melrose. Melrose. Are you thinking of Meldrum, Australia? Maybe that's where the tape is made. The gas tape, Melbourne. Anyway, I don't know. So one thing that I wanted to just spend, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here because I don't have like a guest, like I normally do. And I rant on this thing enough anyway that everybody knows my thoughts on things. But I have had a lot of questions the last couple of weeks about how I got both my kids to do get into the plumbing trade. And it certainly wasn't my intention from the beginning. Of course, when they were little kids, you take them with you on the weekends. You use them to show them what you do, kind of career day stuff. But they both come to that decision all by themselves, where they Isaiah's quite good at it. And that I realize how that sounds coming from his father. But I've told both of them, and anybody that's worked for me, I'm an incredibly difficult guy to work for. Because my expectations are really high, and I don't really have a massive, long fuse when it comes to being patient. And when we had from 2005 to about 2017 is when I had anywhere from 12 to 18 guys working for me. And over the course of that 15 years, I probably had 80 guys work for me. And it was just it was a bit of a carousel, merry-go-round. People that would come in and then leave and come in and leave. And to be perfectly blunt, it's because I fired them all. Here's what happened. The biggest one was there was every Monday morning as a business owner, you sort of lay out your whole day, your whole week, right? To have enough work for 18 guys is a lot of, you gotta have a lot of work on the go. And so you gotta have a lot of planning and scheduling. And so you get that all set up. And sure enough, out of 18 guys, 4 of them would have some, ridiculous excuse not to be at work on time, or they weren't coming in that day for whatever reason. Usually because they were having a fight with a girlfriend or something. But I woke up one morning in the middle of 2017, and I had just had enough. And so we made the arrangements for the following Monday We got everybody in, talked to a lawyer, of course, first, or a friend of mine that was a lawyer. And we called everybody in for our Monday morning meeting that we had every Monday. And I handed out little leaflets and I said, we're done. Everybody in this room, I'm letting go. Good luck. Here's your packages. There's taxis outside. You guys can, well, come out and you can get your tools out of your truck, and I'm done. Which was a really stressful thing to do because I still had all that work, and I spent the next sort of 18 months sort of weeding through clients that I liked or didn't like, and narrowed it down to a point where I could do the work. And for those next 3 years, 2 years, I did it all myself, which was insane. I was never home. There was so much work to be done. And it seems like that was a stressful thing, which it was. But the stress was all... I knew exactly what the problems were, and I knew exactly how I was going to handle them. And so put a plan together and make it work. Worked out really well for the most part. The problem with having guys, and I know there's lots of guys here that are employed or employers, and I'm not bashing on either side of that, because it's either way. I understand both sides of that equation. As an employer, it costs a lot of money to outfit a truck and get a guy, insure, all the stuff you need to employ someone. Like, it's, especially with the government regulations, like, there's no messing around. Because if you mess around, you're going to get in a lot of freaking trouble with the government. And it doesn't take long to get in trouble with the government. When I had all those guys, we had to come up with, or we had to pay the government every 2 weeks $60,000 Canadian, which someone will think is like $500 US. It's not quite that bad. In fact, back then it was almost equal. It was about 5 or 6% off. And that was just for payroll taxes, for remittance, what we call it up here, for unemployment insurance. And so, you're $120,000 a month simply to the government. You haven't paid rent, you haven't bought any material, you haven't bought gas, you haven't even paid your dudes yet, you haven't paid yourself yet. Like, it was awful. It was stressful. And so when I see guys now, no matter where, here on Instagram or in my own town, that have those type of crews, I actually, have a lot of sympathy for those guys. New York is insane. Like, I've had a few conversations with George, and he's not here, so I'm not going to, speak out of turn, but like the taxes those guys pay, I'm not sure if it kicked in, but we had a conversation once about rainfall tax, that they will charge you depending on how much pavement you have on your frickin' property, which is, you're just like, what? How is this allowed? How do we allow the government to do that? I don't get it, on how we just sort of take it and think, oh, everybody has to, what are we talking about? We're talking about running a business and the expenses that go into running that business. And the first one, the biggest one, is taxes. And that's the non-negotiable one, right? Like, you do not get to negotiate with the government. If they say you owe something, very rarely is it a conversation between you and the government. Like, you have to get an intermediary involved to deal with it, because it's so complex. So if I paid a guy $40 an hour, and my hourly rate's $135, people think, oh man, you're making $100 an hour off that dude. I'm like, no, I am not making $100 an hour off that guy. I might be making, 10, 50, maybe $20 an hour, depends how efficient he is and what he does. Here in Canada, you have to pay them a minimum of 3 hours. So if they show up on a day, which didn't happen very often, but if you showed up at 7 and there was no work, you had to pay them for 3 hours of that day. If on call, same thing. So if you got a call at 9 o'clock on a Friday night, and you go and pop a sink drain that takes you 5 minutes in time, I had to pay that guy, that tech, that plumber, 3 hours minimum to make that work. And that's the law. And so you'd pay him, and then you'd have to turn around. So if he's making, what did I say, $40 an hour? So I got to pay him $120 to do that service call. Yeah, this is Alberta. I think that's Canada, because it's, I don't know. It's Alberta for sure, but I don't know if it's Canada-wide. So you show up, or what was I talking about? Oh, so he does his overtime. He does his one on call. He'll make $120 for that one call out. So I got to turn around and I got to charge the customer $300 plus parts to do whatever he had to do, so that I, as the owner of the company, can make a couple of bucks. That's $120 his wage. You can double that in taxes, employment insurance, remittance. There's a list. There's 5 or 6 things that you have to pay, and vacation pay, holiday pay, all that crazy stuff. And so for one call comes in, I cost the owner minimum $200, and that doesn't include gas, doesn't include wear and tear on the car, and the vehicle, or the tools that he may use, or whatever. So you charge the customer $300 or $400 for that 5-minute call, and they lose their minds. You're ripping us off, which is simply not true. Out of that $350, again, I, as the business owner, might make, $50 on that per call. So we used to have guys that would love to do on call, because you would get 5 or 6 calls on a weekend, and you'd make $1,000 doing. And usually we would call it flood, fire, explosion. That you just have to show up there and make sure nothing was going to flood, nothing was going to catch on fire, nothing was going to explode. So you just had to minimize the situation to keep everybody happy. And then we would go back on regular hours and fix it. And mostly regular hours, because on-call cost the company so much money. It wasn't a moneymaker, really. I got a bunch of questions here. Hang on, sorry. So yeah, our hourly rate, just for simple math, we're $130 during the day, 7 till 4:30, and if anything comes after 4:30, we're time and a half, from 4:30 till 10 at night. And if you call after 10, it's double time. On the weekends, it was basically triple that. So if we got a call at 6 o'clock on a Saturday night, it's $700 to show up there. So yeah, we basically have 4 different rates, which again, it just adds to the complexity of running your business, right? It's crazy. Oh, there's a 4 minimum hour. Yeah, so Alberta, it's 3. They may have changed it. Like I say, I let everybody go in 2017, which was 5 years ago. And so, as you know, you guys in the States know your crazy election cycles. I just thought I saw, they're bringing in those 87,000 IRS agents. And I think with the new change in who's running the House, they just abolished that. So, it's just, that's the thing about politicians. They don't actually do anything. They just talk about doing shit, and then nothing actually really happens, right? It's crazy. That's why it's so frustrating. Okay, here's a good... Frustrating to see backdoor guys charging half-hour rate. It took me 6 years of grinding to get to the point where I can charge enough. Yeah. It's true. And the backboard guys don't have to carry the insurance. Like, I know in the States it's a bit different, but here I carry $5 million of liability, which is over and above what most people require. 2 million is what the minimum is now. But we work in some pretty nice places and some pretty big buildings. And so there's no sense on chinsing the insurance. Like, you don't want to overpay for insurance, but you can't chintz it, man. If you chintz it, whew, and you need to, call on them because they're like everybody else. They're almost as bad as the government. There's two industries that you should not ever feel sorry for. I learned this a long time ago. But do not feel sorry for insurance companies or the government, obviously, because those guys make money no matter what. And so when there's some big flood here and the insurance companies are, we're not making any money this year, like, BS, dude. You made $300 billion last year, and this year you're only going to make $200 billion. Yeah, that 350 call out. People lose their minds. We don't do very much residential for that reason, because most of those guys are tire kickers. And we literally say on the weekend, yeah, we'll come in and unclog your toilet, but it's $750. And some of them, like, you're like the only guy that's answered the phone, so come on out. But lots of them are like, that's insane. I'm like, yeah, well, shop around. Find somebody that'll do it cheaper. So yeah, Cowtown Plumber. I just sort of reached the end of what I could do mentally. There's a lot of other things that were going on in my life at that time, so I just couldn't do it anymore. You just couldn't do it. I did, to be perfectly frank, got in some trouble with the government because I missed a couple of their $60,000 payments, and they don't mess around. They're like, listen, man, you've got like 4 weeks to catch up on this, or, we're going to escalate this. And when a government agent tells you he's going to escalate things, he means escalate things. So we just sort of, I had to just, and we were in the perfectly wrong size. Like, you either stay super small, lean and thin, or you go massive. Like, there's companies here in Calgary that have 50, 60, 100 employees, and with the economies of scale, then they can start, that revenue generation kicks in. But prior to that, like, if you're where I was at about 20, we'll say, just for easy math, like, I'm paying for everything that a 100 employee company would pay for. I'm not getting any discounts because I'm paying maximum, and I'm getting the least amount of return, even though some of those guys were good. And that's what started this whole conversation. Is out of those 70 to 80 people that I had employed over those years, there's probably 3 that I would hire again. Which means, like, I don't know what that means, but how much for out of province golf? Way too much, man. Yeah, most carry 2. Workers' comp, and yeah, all that stuff. Like, workers' comp, those guys are the mafia. I tell it to their face. There are agencies that I absolutely don't take any crap from. I don't pay my workers' comp until I absolutely have to. They want it every month. You have to pay this monthly. I'm like, no, I do not, and I will not. I will pay it when you phone me for the 4th time and threaten to close my business. Because they do nothing for you. When I was first starting, I hurt myself, won't go into the details, and I applied for workman's comp. The only time in my whole career that I applied for workman's comp. I was out of work for 10 days. Submitted, you have to submit what you would make, what you lost, what jobs you have. It's a really complicated process because it's government, of course. And after I did everything that I was supposed to do, I got a check for $14. $14. I was so mad. And that's when it was over. I just said, you guys are dinks. I am not dealing with you guys. You guys are literally, because they changed their model. They used to have, you would pay, if you had under 3 employees, you paid $500. Over, between 3 and 5 employees, you paid $750. 10 employees, I can't remember it all, but it was staged. And then, just like the Black Hand in The Godfather, they changed it to percentage. So they want you to submit your yearly earnings, and they will charge you a percentage of your earnings. What in the hell? It's so corrupt. Anyway, that's what gets me going. When, and I don't say this as sort of a, I'm bragging, but, after 35 years of dealing with governments and people and their problems, you just sort of get to the point where I'm done with all your BS. Like, there's no need for it. And lawyers. Yeah, lawyers. Although, the lawyers have got it down, because those suckers, take their retainer, put it in their little trust account, so that they're covered for whatever, that's where I think I had that discussion with, was it KC Plumbing? I forget. Shoot, sorry, dude. He had me on his podcast. I'm getting Alzheimer's or something. And we talked about how I came up with our billing. I came up with our billing out of dealing with lawyers, because they charge for, like, if they take 15 photocopies, you're paying for 15 photocopies, and you'll see a line item for it. If they, have to get something faxed, they'll charge you for faxing, which I was like, what? They charge you you need something notarized, they will charge you for every single step of getting something notarized. And so I said, listen, I'm as valuable as a lawyer to someone that needs me. I'm going to start billing for every single thing I do, which is why when I was on his podcast, or his little Instagram live, we charge our truck fee, our hourly fee. We charge for every tool that we use. If I pull out a press gun, I charge for it. If I pull out a solder kit, I charge for it. If I pull out a shovel, it's under hand tools, but I charge for it. And, people pay it because they need the work done. And we've had, the odd ones. You're literally charging me for that. I'm like, did I use it? Well, yeah. I had one guy that used me once. We brought out our Sawzall, and I charged him for the Sawzall. He's like, you're charging me for a Sawzall? I've never seen that in my whole life. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 20 years at that time, and we charge for every tool we use. He's like, that's like barber charging for scissors. I'm like, no, because the barber has 1 or 2 or 3 pairs of scissors. I got $50,000 worth of tools in that truck that can do anything I need done within reason while I'm on site. So you're going to pay for that extra. Makes us law-abiding citizens. That's good. It's true. Like I obviously listen. P.S. the plumber. I'm gonna DM you after this, and we're gonna do a live or a Zoom meeting, and we're gonna chat about the craziness of governments and the laws that they make to do whatever they're doing. Oh, Cowtown plumber. When they owe you money, it takes forever. Oh yeah. Yeah, so exactly right. But it hasn't happened. This was a long time ago, probably I'm going to say 30 years ago. But my first 4 or 5 years in business, I got audited every single year for like 4 years in a row. And every year, because I wasn't screwing anybody, I got a refund back, a significant refund, like a 5-digit refund. And the last year that they did it, the guy who had been sort of a repeat auditor, He's like, dude, we're never auditing you again. And I've never been audited since. So it pays, I guess, to be legit and upfront and cover your basis so that when they come for you and they got nothing, they just walk away. There's a ratio on trucks. And I don't know if that ratio, I agree with you on that, but that ratio has been thrown out the window because trucks cost, like, we just got the decals done on those vans. I was looking at getting new vans, and a work van, white work van with nothing in it but seats and a steering wheel was $55,000. My black truck, that was 5 or 6 years ago again, the engine went on it at, 450,000 kilometers. I'm like, okay, it's time for a new truck. So I do some looking into it. A new truck like that is almost $100,000. I said, dude, you gotta, like, that's the best. I don't need the sticker price. Give me, like, he was a buddy of mine. He's like, the best I can do is like $92,000. Like $92,000 for a truck? Not a chance in hell. And so I got the engine replaced for $9,000. Runs like a top. So those are difficult decisions to make. And I see guys in this town and on Instagram with beautiful trucks, deckled, full, and good on them. But that literally, like, you're looking at, in today's world, a $200,000 investment. Plus the guy to drive it. And you better hope that guy knows what the hell he's doing and isn't, ruining your name. That's the other thing, is I was really creative in my name. So it's literally me that's running around on that craziness. Like, it's just, more business owners need to, listen, we should maybe get a group of business owners just to talk about the pitfalls. Because it's different in every jurisdiction. Like Alberta is different than BC. I know Turbo's talked about some of his ridiculous issues over there. But at the end of the day, the message is, which I've said repeatedly on here, the government is not your friend. He is not your business partner. He is not going to do you any favors. The government is going to F you. F you. You start your business and then message me in 3 years and tell me that what I just said isn't true. Because that's literally how it goes. It's craziness. Oh, sorry. I should make a course for this. That's going to be my side hustle. I was thinking about taking pictures of my feet. Honestly, I think that's part of what, Isaiah's finished. He's a junior journeyman a year in. We removed the junior journeyman tag at year 3. And so he's got a couple years, this year and next, and he'll be a legit journeyman. He should be able to do just about everything I can do. Peter's will be done this year. He's in school right now. And so I hope that in 5 to 6 years from now that I'm full-time working on my bees, breeding my goats. I got baby goats. If you guys didn't see, you can check my latest reel. And I'm going to breed some really cool chickens. And sort of delve into that world. And when the boys have a significant problem, they can call me, and I'll happy to walk them through it. But that's sort of the plan of where I think I'm going. I got to book an hour for a call. Dude, just DM me. I'm happy to just, whatever. It's, hey, there's Mr. Sukaris. Mr. Sukaris from Central Therm is a fabulous dude. If any chance you guys can use his pipe, use it. It's a great product. He's a great guy. He's a quality spokesman for that brand. He came out here on a little tour, and we went for dinner, and I told him I was paying, and he it almost came to fists, but he won. because he had already told the waiter because they got there before me. Him and Dan Smith from Central Therm had got there before me and told the waiter, "We're paying, not Bob." Anyway, I tried. You got to keep your minimum to. So one of the things that saved me is that we moved back. So I had a big warehouse in town. I'm paying $6,000 a month rent, which in today's world is cheap. You're probably paying twice that now. And so when we moved to the barn, all my plumbing stuff is right underneath me. We do all of our prep here. Yeah, we run it out of here. It works great. So it saves me a ton of money and becomes a tax write-off. That I'm able to use this residence as my place of business, because it is. And we've actually had a government agent come out to make sure that we were actually running tools out of here. Just stupid. So you're paying that dude. The government pays a dude to come out and make sure that I'm not lying about this being a workspace. He was here for 10 minutes. And everything's here. Like you said, I'm like I said. And because they were looking for, to bill me more, is what it comes down to. The chat, I'm on a couple of chats. Those things get out of control. I used to be part of like 6 or 7 of them. And I'm probably like 5 minutes behind everybody's questions here. So, if you've got a question, I'll get to it. It turns into as any conference I've ever gone to, including AHR, including WET, like the first morning, the afternoon is all business and everybody's focused and wants to learn something and is there for a good reason. And then, I don't have to tell you, it turns into debauchery. It truly does. And, and if people want to do that, that's good for them. If they need to blow off some steam, that's good for them. That's not anywhere part of my life. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of that stuff. And so don't go to the strippers. I have no interest in any of that, thing. And that's not judgment. I'm not being judgmental on anybody that does that. So don't take it that way. But, I'm usually good for the first day and a half, and then it just sort of gets crazy. If you remember way back when I had my first account before that got nuked, there were the 3 rules of Rob Turbo had invited a bunch of people out to go to Mexico at one of his timeshares. And I said, dude, that's a bad idea because there's 3 rules, right? There's the 3 rules of every group party. And here it is. First rule is someone's going to get drunk. Second rule is 2 people are going to have a fight. And the third rule is someone's going to try and make it with your girl. I put the, G version of that, but somebody's going to try and F your woman. That's absolutely the gospel truth. After you've been involved with the trade for, as long as I had, you can message me and say, yeah, Dad. Yeah, Dad. Yeah, dude. That's the absolute truth. Yeah, the egg thing. We're going to do the egg things. And, I'm just looking forward to sort of just, shifting it down a gear and focusing on something else where I can learn something new. There's so much to learn in plumbing. And I have said to the boys when they come up with, oh, Dad, we should do this, or Dad, we should do this. I'm like, you know what? That's yours. That's something you want to do. Knock yourself out. I'm happy where I am. I know where my margins are. I know where I make money. I know where I don't. I'm going to keep focused on this. And then you guys can expand it any way you want. I'm going to learn how to make fantastic honey with some secret sauce. That's the secret. And then get some cool looking goats and some awesome ass chickens. If you Google awesome chickens, there's some cool chickens. I'm going to breed some wicked roosters and hens. That's my plan. Charge my kids. Listen, that's part of it. I'm not just turning this whole thing over to them. Here you go. There'll be some negotiations in that on what that looks like, and there'll be some costs associated with it. I can assure you of that. Oh, that's all the questions I got. Oh, no, maybe one more. Um, yeah. So it's been 45 minutes already. Um, you know what? That's the problem with goat. You're 100% right. I work with some fabulous chefs, lots of restaurants, as you may or may not know, and I've talked to no less than a dozen of them to come up with a good recipe for um, goat, and nobody can. Goat is disgusting. The only good goat is baby goat because it's tender and all the rest of that stuff. But I'm not completely heartless, and I can't. I don't have the heart to butcher a baby goat. I've butchered lots of things, and goat soup. I don't know, man. I've tried it like 4 or 5 different ways, and it literally tastes like dirt. And I'm not a curry guy. I see the curry goat. I'm not a curry guy, and so that's sort of out of the equation. I am. I think I'm gonna get a cow this year. Stick a cow out there, and see what that does. Try my hand at raising a steer, and then filling my freezer full of beef, which is frankly it's already full. I bought a half a cow last year, and which is the beauty of living where I live, and I'll use the vernacular of the day, the privilege that I enjoy, that I earned, by the way, is living out here and basically being able to do lots of fun things. Let's see. What are my predictions? Listen, my prediction is the trade isn't going anywhere. It doesn't mean there isn't tough times and that, you might have to cinch your belt loop once or twice, but we are busier than we've ever been. Ever. In my whole life. We've never been busier. We get new calls from new customers every single day that I really can't address. I do think there'll be some market correction, but if you're in the new housing market, I would get out of it. Because that is literally the stock market. It's the place where you go to start your career. And it's so cutthroat, and those guys can go bankrupt like that and leave you on the hook. So, if you're in new homes, I would be a little bit worried about that. But service isn't going anywhere. If you're a good service plumber, you will be just fine. I have, I lived through, I was in business in 2000 when things were terrible around here. I was in business in 2008 when things were terrible around here. It's been a bit rocky, sort of 2014, 2016. You're right. You can't, sometimes you're not living that high on the hog, but if you're willing to work, that's the beauty of the trade is if you have some independence in your soul and don't want to work for somebody your whole life, then there's so much money to be made in this thing. Like you can do anything you want if you have the skill set, and no one can take that away from you. The government can't take that away from you, and it's a needed skill set. And it's not. I was talking to Greg Crumpton, who's with Service Logic, the other day. Plumbing is not plunging toilets. It's not changing taps, it's part of it. But you see the boiler systems that are coming out, hydronics, the pumping systems that are coming out. Um, there's just so much opportunity, and if you're willing to shut off the Xbox and um, focus on some educating yourself, there's nothing you can't do, nothing. So I don't think the trade is going anywhere. I think it's and there's no one going into it. Pete's in school right now. He's in his third year, and there's 15 kids in his class, and a couple of them are old men. Or 30-year olds. That thing there should be 65 people in there, but there's 15. So next year there'll be 30 plumbers entering the market. Okay. 60 junior journeymen. Okay. Like that, like it is not replacing itself. And frankly, our prices have only continued to go up. And I think will only continue to go up as our services become more and more vital. And if you have some people skills and, hire a good accountant and hire a good lawyer, because you're going to need both. Oh, Lucas, how are you, my friend? Give your dad a quick smack for me. He's a good guy, but you should probably smack him just slightly. I see John Snyder's in the chat. Maybe he's still here, maybe he's not. But I make fun of John because Philadelphia is the most unique place on the entire planet. Every time I, go off on something, John, it's been a while, because John's busy building his business, which is amazing for him. And he started during COVID. Like, that's insane. There's people that have been in business for 20 years that lost their business over COVID. John Snyder, George the Plumber, Quality Sewer and Drain, although he was before COVID, started their businesses during COVID. Like and are doing fantastic. And, clearly they are what I just said, financially minded, have a skill set, have some personality, and know how to relate to people. But it's also because the market is there. Like, there is a demand for that stuff. So anybody that says, I get lots of people that say, there's, I'm not busy. And I'm like, that's in the back of my head. I'm like, that's because you suck. It's not has anything to do with what's happening in the world. We're incredibly busy. But you're right. The largest problem in the world is frickin' Philadelphia. Good, he smacked him. Yeah, no, I agree. That's been the biggest thing is for me, and I guess I don't want to go on for too much longer, but the biggest draw for the boys to be plumbers is that feeling of solving problems. There is no better feeling in the entire world. I don't care. Maybe if you're a heart surgeon and you save somebody's life, maybe. But to walk into a problem where people are freaking out. There's no heat. There's a flood. There's a sewer backed up. Like, it's Armageddon in their world at that moment. Like, all they can think about is this problem, whatever that might be. And you can show up and in 45 minutes fix that problem. Like, you're a superhero in their minds. And that endorphin rush of them being so thankful that you showed up to fix their problem, there's nothing like it, which is why I love the service industry. And that's why it's not going anywhere. A criminal lawyer or business lawyer? I guess that depends on your business plan. A business lawyer, unless you're going to start, ending people. Yeah, Simon the plumber, right here in town. I sold him his first auger. It was one of the rigid ones, Rigid 400, I think. Started in the middle of COVID, which is insanity. Like, if you went and talked to a bank guy and said, I'm going to start my business a plumbing business in the middle of COVID, they would have said, good luck, because we ain't giving you any money. And he's doing great. I make fun of him because he drives a coffee truck, but that's so that he doesn't get broken into. It's a fabulous strategy. I love it. I should have not deckled my vans and like spray painted on their laundry service or something to keep the bandits away. You do need a good accountant. You need an aggressive accountant. You need an accountant that is not friends with the government. My very first one was my brother-in-law. And I had just finished school. I had just started my thing. And he's like, yeah, you owe like $10,000. I'm like, how do I owe $10,000? I didn't earn $10,000. I've only been in business for like 3 months. I've just started. That was the last time we did my books. And we got it redone. And I did not owe $10,000. So get one that dislikes the government. That has the same attitude that you have. It should be on... it should be a team. Like you should have a similar thought process on how you want to tackle your problems. And the biggest problem you want to solve is keeping as much of your money as possible. Yep, that's what it is. So we, and I don't know much, but I will DM you, PS Diploma. Our service stuff, when COVID first hit, like everybody else in the world, I was literally at home for 2 weeks straight. Nothing happened because everybody was freaking out. But after that 2 weeks, we were busy. Wasn't our best year ever, 2020, but it wasn't our worst. Which tells you, it tells me, doesn't tell you, it tells me that we're onto something and doing, we've got a good base and good people to work for. And the boys were busy. I was busy. We rocked it out. It was awesome. Hang on a second. Did I watch the Miss America pageant ran by women? No, I didn't. I did not watch Miss America. I'm trying to spend my evenings. I got a couple hours left on the first book that I'm reading for 2023, 1984. I highly recommend it. It's a fabulous read. Some interesting themes going on, as everybody knows. But I would encourage you to read. Shut off the Xbox. Shut off Miss America. It's all rigged anyway. And in fact, since everybody's watching football right now, the NFL's rigged too. It's all about gambling. Sorry, what is it? I think there's magnets in the gloves. That's another live. We'll talk about magnets in NFL and how they rig their games. How about that? Service did rule supreme. We lost 3 customers that wouldn't have us in because we would not get vaccinated and would not sign the paperwork saying that we would get vaccinated. And all 3 of those customers asked us back. We only went back to 1 because the other 2 were dinks. So we cut some people. And that's the crazy thing, right? Like we're literally cutting customers and still busier than I know how to be. Like there are some days I get up and say who said the most F words in a row, and that's who I'm going to go see that day. Let's see here. It is the best feeling in the world. Biggest problem in Canada, they say there's no plumbers. Don't have any apprentices. So that's part of the reason I quit or got rid of everybody, because it seemed to me for 15 years of running that company is all I did every day was say sorry to a customer. Oh, he did that? Oh, I'm sorry. We had one guy that was on call. I'll tell this quick story, and then I got to try and keep these under an hour. But I had a guy that was on call. The customer phoned in and said her toilet was plugged. It was a Saturday night, so the guy, we had it all arranged. Everybody knew the drill. So he called the customer, and the customer said, "Yeah, my toilet's plugged." And he's like, "Is it the only one in your house?" She's like, "Yeah." "Is there a gas station close to you?" That's my employee asking a customer if there's a gas station close to her so that she can go use that toilet as opposed to her own home toilet. And she was so mad, of course, hung up the phone, phoned me on Monday, bawled me out because I'm an idiot for hiring idiots. That guy got fired. He did take me to employment standards until I showed him a conversation employment standards, the conversation that I had with the woman that was so mad. And that got dismissed. That's the other thing that they don't tell you about running your own show, is that if you dismiss someone and they're displeased with you, they can take you to employment standards and make your life hell trying to catch up with or trying to defend yourself for firing an idiot. And if that doesn't work, then they go on Google. If you go on my Google and look at reviews and go like the least, the poorest rating, which you can rank that way. Everybody that's given me like a total crap rating used to work for me. It's just how it goes. So you gotta have broad shoulders and a thick skin and a strong back, because frickin' it's just stupid. Go Vikings. Are they even in it? See, I don't follow football that much. I don't really follow anything until the playoffs kick in. There's no magnets in pucks. That's true. Do you guys remember the Fox puck? Where they had the little blue light for all the Americans so they could watch hockey. How long did that last? I think that was before HDTV, if I remember right. And once HDTV came in, they didn't need the little blue light for people to follow because you could track the puck with the massive TVs they have now as well. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, it's been an hour. Yep. I can't believe I didn't even get to. I have a bunch of notes here of what I was going to talk about, but I didn't even get to it. So, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to, we'll make some arrangements. We'll talk to a few people. We'll start doing this on try and get back on the wagon here. And I think we had a fabulous discussion. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me. I'm always on this thing. I spend too much time on it. That's my weakness, I think, is on Instagram. But if there's something that you have a question on or whatever, I'm happy to share my thoughts on it. It certainly doesn't mean that I'm the gospel or I'm right or I can only share what my experiences have been and share things through my lens, which frankly sometimes pisses people off to no end. Which, if you're gonna come at me, I'm gonna fight back. So if you want to be a dick, I will be a dick right back to you. That's how that goes. Anyway, lovely discussion, everybody. Thanks for joining in. We'll like I say, we're gonna change the format a bit and do some Zoom stuff and YouTube stuff, and that's part of my goal this year, is to just sort of expand what we do on social media. And like Royal Plumbing was saying, try and give back to some people that, or try and give back some of the things that I've learned. Maybe you guys can learn or, avoid a couple pitfalls here and there, and we can just make the world a better place. Isn't that what it's all about at the end of the day? Anyway, I appreciate it, everybody. Thanks for the chat. Send me your questions. Send me your concerns. If you want to have a fight, let's have a fight. Other than that, have a blessed Sabbath, and whatever team you're cheering for, I hope they win. And don't gamble, because you're going to lose. That's the last message. Oh, Matthew, fun time. How are you, buddy? We're just signing off. Have an excellent day, everybody. Thanks again.